Hey, welcome to episode 4 of Cozy Corner with Courtney. I'm your host, Courtney. I knit, and I've got a lot of cool things to share with you today. So let's get right on into it. Today I think I'm going to start off with my WIP. I know I started doing that in episode 1, and I think episode 1 went smoother. Then in episode 2 I started showing the finished objects. No, episode 1 was finished objects. Ooh, okay. Well, all right. Let's start off with the finished object. One moment, please. This is my finished object, and this pattern is Leaves by Midori Hirose. It's knit in fingering singles from the Wandering Flock, and their colorway Pistachio Cream. I absolutely love it. I'm not going to do the thing where I'm like holding it in front of the screen because if you want to see that, you can look in some of the previous episodes. But I love it. I will maybe throw up a picture on the screen because taking photos, taking finished object photos is something that is semi-important to me. Like, it's not, everything. It's not the reason why I knit, but I do like to look at my Ravelry and see like a really nice finished object photo, especially as the weather gets better. Yes, especially because in January I think it can be kind of cold, and in past years I've noticed that like in January I won't have very many finished object photos that are like outside and well lit. Yes. So I'm really excited. Well, I should say it like this. I'm really pleased that yeah. Yay. I'm really pleased with this knit. I think it's a great staple in my wardrobe already. I absolutely love it, and as the weather gets more warm here in Searcy, Arkansas, it's time for something a little bit more light. The scarf that I've been wearing, I'll throw a picture up on my screen, was the Advent scarf that I made with a pattern from Julie Kubetsky and yarn from Pineapple Yarn Company, who is unfortunately no longer dyeing yarn. And that was the Advent scarf that I made last year in 2023 with my 2022 Advent from Pineapple Yarn. I finished it in January, so I consider it like a 2023 project. Yeah, but it was a DK weight, so it was getting to be a bit heavy, a bit much, and also the colors. Although like I love the colors, I am looking for a little bit more of a staple because I'm new in town, and I'm like, as much as if bright colors are you, and if you have like that confidence to like just I mean, go ahead and wear them, like absolutely, but for me, like maybe I just want to wear things that are a little more like toned back at certain times, Now, sometimes is not the time for that, not the time for toned back colors, but yeah, I've been really into like pastels, and it just like I wear this sweater a lot, and it's like a kind of like a neutral, I think. Yeah. So there you go. This is, again, Leaves by Midori Hirose, yarn from the Wandering Flock, fingering singles, and colorway Pistachio Cream, and I absolutely love it. The Wandering Flock has a new website too, so the Wandering Flock has a new website. They used to have only an Etsy page, but now they have a website that's all their own, so I'll do my best to link it below for you guys so that you can check out some of their other beautiful colorways. If you are knitting around spring of 2021 or 2022, spring 2022, I'm sorry, and you were into like patterns and Ravelry and things like that, you might have seen the Wandering Flock featured in Pom Pom Mag. I can't remember what issue number it was, but it was the one with the pastels and like the very cloud-like creations. Yeah, they had this one. I'll throw it up on the screen, the one that I made, called Cloud Bow, and I really love the construction of it. It was mohair held single, which, you know, I was listening to Ara Knits and Pearls at the time, and I think she was making something similar, and she had remarked on how fiddly, she uses the word fiddly, the mohair held single was. So I'm thankful that I listened to her, and at least I was expecting it to be this way a little bit by the time the yarn came in and I got started with the pattern. Unfortunately, I think this was the first garment that I ever made. Yeah, you're like, well, that's quite the pattern, Courtney. I'm like, I know. Like, you'd think I would have picked something more basic. I have no idea. That's what I wanted to make. To me, it seemed basic when I read the pattern. And honestly, like, the way the pattern is written, it kind of was. I did make one mistake where, like, I had a panel held the wrong way when I was sewing it together, or when I was picking up stitches. And so one of the armpits is like in a little bit more than it should be. And also I didn't do a gauge swatch, so my gauge was a little tighter than the recommended gauge. It's not, honestly, it's not off by much. Like, I still might be like, but it was just a little snug. Like, it was a little snug on my body, and also it didn't really look right on me. I think part of that is probably because it was a little bit too tight. Pastels don't really go with like my complexion anyways, but I still love them, so yeah. I mean, I could revisit that pattern with maybe this color, pistachio cream mohair from the Wandering Flock. I think I actually have enough for that in the storage unit. But or just a different type of mohair. I've also seen people make like a fingering weight version. I did end up giving that particular finished item to my kids though, and I can't say they wore it a lot, but like the couple times that I got to see two of my daughters wear it, like each of these two daughters wore it like once just to have on, basically. Well, the first one I asked her to put it on. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. But like, she wasn't really a fan. But like, I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Here, I'll give it to you. And then the next year, my other daughter just like tried it on. And I think she liked it a little bit more. She kind of wore it around the house. Maybe she was doing it just to like please me, like just for my own sake. But it's not really something, like, of course, due to like the sheer nature of it, it's not really something that's practical for either of them to wear out. Yeah, so like you have to have another shirt on under it, and as a kid, like, why are you gonna put something like that on? I mean, my older daughter is a little closer to women's sizes now, because this was 2 years ago that I made it, so she probably wouldn't really like, yeah, it probably, and it was too small for me like when I made it, so I don't know. Okay, so we've talked about this. Let's talk about whips. Okay, I'm gonna take it out and work on it while I'm talking to you. This is the Boneyard Shawl. Pattern is Boneyard Shawl by Stephen West. Okay, I really like it when I hold it like that. Let me hold it a little closer for you. Yes. And hold on, I have pattern notes. No, pattern notes, rather. I have video notes. Okay. I wrote video notes to tell you about like how much yarn I had left over after I finished this scarf and pistachio cream. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that quick video up. At the time, it seemed really important that I had to record this to show you. so there you go. Okay. In my bag. So it says, this is how much pistachio cream remains after I finished my final set of pattern repeats and chose to conserve yarn for a scrappy project. And honestly, I don't know that I would have been able to do another set of pattern repeats, because this is all it knit into, like in this shawl. So I think maybe sometimes when you see the ball, or like even the yarn like hanging down, like sometimes to me it feels like I have more than will actually show up in a project. But like when I see it knit up in the shawl, I don't think I could have done another set of pattern repeats. Like maybe, I don't know, just because the shape is different, right? Like this one might be a little wider than like these. I just have 2 pattern repeats here. But like I would have had to do like, I would have been pulling it so close. And if I messed up and did yarn chicken, I would have had to frog lace, which is intimidating for me. I don't really want to frog lace because I have to make I have to make sure all the stitches are going the right way. Yarn overs can be a little finicky, and you know, if you're a lace frogging person and you're like, it's totally not that big a deal, like, power to you. Okay, so, and this is how much, the second video is how much I had left over after completing the extra row. Okay, yes, okay, and this is how much I had left over basically when I finished the project, which, yeah, you just have to do like an extra row and a garter border. I don't want to tell you too much to like give the pattern away, but I think I'm far from like giving the pattern away. Like I think you would still need to buy it like to know how to create it. But yeah, so when I finished the scarf, I had this much. Here I am placing it with my hands into this pile of scraps. And this is what I did with that pile of scraps. I'm cleaning up and making more room on my husband's desk that isn't taken up by a little pile of yarn. So, yeah. And I mean, I did put, like, there's 2 worsted weight scraps in this picture. It's the pink and the gray one. My finger up there. It's the pink and the gray one. And I just put those back in my little knitting bag, and I put the rest of the scraps in there too, like once I got to a certain point, because I didn't really need to like keep them straight anymore. And then when I was putting things in my knitting bag, or I guess when I was taking something out of my knitting bag to add, like I think when I was trying to choose the next color that would come after this, Bougie New Year by Hypnotic Yarns, I found this tiny thing of, I remember it's called like Blue Dacnes, and I think it's by Cloudborne Fibers. I will have this yarn in the Ravelry project page notes, and I did make sure that I shared this project publicly. So if you're like curious about any of the types of yarns that I have, you can go and look in my Ravelry, and you'll see I haven't added these last 2 yet, but I'm about to. But just like going through it real quick, this is undyed, and because when I was home dyeing yarn last year using just like KoFi and like whatever I had in the kitchen cabinet, like turmeric, blackberries, those were the only things I used last year pretty much. I had some leftover undyed yarn that I used, and yeah, so I just call it Creations by Courtney. If I had if I had like something where I would need to name my bases, I would call this my Tonito base. Because it's like fingering weight, so it's like Tonito. Instead of Tony, which is my kid's dad's name. So like when I was doing this, I was like, I would name each of my yarn bases after someone in my family. And yeah, I wasn't with my husband yet then, but like it still works. It still works to have a tiny base named after my kid's dad. Like I think that works. So yeah, and so that's Tonito in Undyed by Creations by Courtney. it feels weird to say that because I haven't like sold yarn and I don't have like immediate plans to. So, but I had to give it like a name. Like I wanted to give it a name to put into Ravelry and all of that. And also I was in the shower thinking about what I would name yarn bases one day. So that's partially how that happened. This one, you know, is Pistachio Cream Fingering Singles by the Wandering Flock. Love it. This one I ordered from Steve and Penelope. They were having a really good sale in 2022. Most of this yarn I got in like 2023 or 2022. And it is from Dusty Dimples, who as far as I know is no longer dying. It's in 75-25 sock, I believe. And the fingering, yeah, fingering weight, all of this is fingering weight. 75-25 sock, Dusty Dimples, colorway light gold mustard. There you go. This one I won in a giveaway last year from Cassie, Cassandra Bickford. So thank you. I used her hashtag for Finish It February, and I won this plush sock base yarn from Hypnotic Yarns, and it's in colorway Bougie New Year. And I kind of love like this boomerang look that we have going. Yes, I love that. And can I just take a moment too to recognize that this yarn is Stephen and Penelope, and the pattern is also like my first Stephen West pattern that I intend to like finish. I mean, I started another one that I also intended to finish, but I just didn't. So I think this will be my first finished Stephen West pattern. I got farther along in this already than I did on the Doodler, which you watched me frog in episode 2. And if you haven't seen episode 2, maybe go back and watch it or not. It was a little bit sad, that one, because I had to frog something else earlier in the week, but there you go. Okay, this one's a blue Dacnese, and I think I can look up on my Ravelry real quick exactly. I have my Ravelry pulled up, so I'm gonna navigate, yes, okay. These socks that I made, with it, that also used this yarn. Okay, yep, Cloudborne Fibers Superwash Sock Twist, colorway Blue Dacnese. I got these from this yarn from lovecrafts.com in January of 2022. And that's what this gorgeous deep saturated blue stripe is. This next color I also love. I kind of love the orange and the blue together. This next color is pumpkin, and it's by Ridiculous Yarns, and their base Addie's Mini Sock, I believe. And I got this yarn from a local yarn store when I was living in Georgia. Yay! So we went through all the colors. I have in my video notes to tell you guys, I used this white first because I know I have more of this in the storage unit, but from the scraps that I brought with me, it was my smallest scrap, so that's why I used it first. And then this was probably conveniently like my next to smallest, and I think these two might have been the Dusty Dimples and the Wandering Flock might have been about the same size, but I thought that the Wandering Flock Pistachio Cream would look nice next to the white, and I think it does. I was really going for something kind of creamy and like dreamy look going on there, but then I added this one because, you know, it was my next smallest, my next small scrap. Maybe not the smallest, but because I didn't find this one till later. Yeah, so I went ahead and added the Dusty Dimples, and at that point I was like, bam, like this is me, this is me. And it's something that I haven't really thought about much since like 7th grade. Like what colors do I really like? And it's like these three right there. Boom, that's me. And that's maybe why I feel like it reminds me of me in 7th grade. But there you go. And then I added the Hypnotic Yarns because that was a scrap that I had, and I didn't know that it would look great with what I had, like, but it does. I wasn't mad at it. I added it and wasn't mad. I found the Blue Dacnys by Cloudborne Fibers and Superwash Sock Twist. And again, not mad. Like, I think it being a smaller scrap and a more saturated blue on the outside of this variegated blue, I think it just looks perfect. I did choose this pumpkin, and I was actually sitting next to my friend, who's our new friend, my new friend Kathleen. And she was like, she could see that I was holding up a few scraps trying to figure out which one to add next before I added this color. And then when I chose and added it in, she was like, oh, you chose the orange, that's good. I was like, yeah. She was like, no, because I think she was insinuating that since I already had this orange here, I should do this orange next. And it was between this and like a yarn that I had dyed with KoFi. I'll show it to you. Yep. It could have been this. This is KoFi from Creations by Courtney and M in the Tonito base, which just means that I dyed it in the kitchen of my apartment last year in 2022 with things that I had in my kitchen. And this, or it could have been this. And I think what Kathleen was saying was, and this is, I forget the colorway, but this is from Pineapple Yarn Company, and their base Gold Nani Twist. And I'm gonna go to my projects to find something else that I made with it so that I can see the colorway. I'll go to Tank Top by Lee Radford, where I also used this. Goodness, I actually don't have this yarn saved there. All right, I can almost remember it. It's Christmas in the Sand. That's what this is, Christmas in the Sand. From Pineapple Yarn Company, who's no longer dyeing, in their colorway, or on their base, Gold Nani Twist. So I showed both of those to my friends, and well, I didn't mean to even show it to her. We were all kind of sitting in like a knitting group. And I met Kathleen last week at the Nitty Natty event. And yeah, she said, hey, we have this group, so she kind of ended up inviting me to it, which was really kind. And yeah, I was so glad to see her and meet with the group this Wednesday. So anyway, she seemed to think that I shouldn't add in the variegated yet, the Christmas in the Sand, because it was too close to this one, and that I should go ahead and do the orange because I already had this here. And you know, I think she's right. Like, I didn't really, like, when I chose the colors though, when I chose that color, I kind of just held it up and was like, orange. Like, I didn't really think all of that. So that's impressive. Yay. So yeah, I just finished this row. I don't know that I have much else to share. I did get to meet Nitty Natty on Friday. She is so rad in real life. I felt kind of shy and like really awkward, but she was so kind. She like took extra time out to like take a picture with me, and I was like, I don't want to take a picture if you don't, like, you know, like, because sometimes I feel like I'm like hesitant to ask people, like, I don't know, but she was like fine with it. It was really cool. And here I have a bowl of chili. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that definitely isolated, like I've been, you know, like isolation's been like something that I've done like prior to 2020, and then 2020 happened, like, so it's just like nice to get out there and start like making friends again. And if you are following along, I hope that you'll also be a friend. if you could like and subscribe to my channel, that'd be amazing. I really do like sharing content with you. I'm trying to get better at doing this. I'd love for this to be like what I do, you know, just to like knit and share my adventures with you. I think that'd be amazing. So without further ado, I guess I'll let you guys go for today, and I'll see you in the next one.